It'll be Dave today. Hello, MouseHunt. Welcome to Feedback Friday. It is, what day is it? It's March 22, 2019. Hello, everyone. Hello, Stejan, KDM, Eileen. How you doing today? Michelle, hello. Hello. Well, today we'll go over a couple areas of interest here. We'll cover the birthday event ending, give a little update on the spring egg hunt, as well as a quick little update on Queso Geyser as well. Hello, Beth, Matthew. Hello, impronounceable name there in the chat. Tarako, Cecilia, Peter. Look at that, everyone's filing in now. Hello, hunters. Hello. Well, as you can see there above me, the birthday event is coming to an end on Tuesday. So a friendly reminder, that is your last chance to pick up any of the LE traps or LE items that you're looking to spend your golden tickets on. As well as when the event comes to an end, you'll be able to smash the various factory parts, so all your mixing rods and such, you'll be able to smash those into one party charm each. So if unstable charms were not your cup of tea, then you can wait and you can smash them after the event comes to an end. And finally, the parts and the tickets, although now I see a typo on my slide here. Let's correct that, shall we? Tickets. Cool. Parts and tickets, they're going to be removed, similar to what we do with golden parts as well. So if we repeat something similar next year, all the various factory parts and the golden tickets, they will all be swept away, so you start from scratch next year. So by all means, please don't hold on to anything, cash everything out. And like I said, after the event comes to an end on Tuesday, you'll be able to smash your factory parts into party charms if you would prefer. That's a lot of party charms. Indeed, you will be well stocked on party charms, I think. Parts and tickies, whoops, says Stejan, yep. I guess the font size is too small for me. Stejan asks, will the parts and tickets get rusty or something so we have a memory like stale cupcakes? No, they will just be removed, and that just kind of makes it a little bit easier for us to maintain going forward, where we don't have to keep making so many duplicate, very similar items, as well as not a significant, I suppose, concern, but a mild performance issue as well. The more items that exist in the game, the more sort of overhead there is in running things as well. There's just more data that can be pulled up. Party charms with a boost to party chaps, or is it still just a suggestion so far? Asks IFL, I guess I'll call you. We like that suggestion. Don't know if we'll be able to quite sneak that in as part of the birthday closure, but that might make it into the notes for next year to add a sort of birthday-themed set bonus when you pair maybe one of your cake bases with a birthday-themed trap, and then the party charms could be a sort of third little bonus on top of that. Will the cheese be used next year? It's probably too early to say for sure, so I don't know. I won't speculate. If we do repeat, it'll probably be something similar. I don't know if it would be identical. Might kind of tweak some of the balance and progression, maybe have more ways of going a little bit quicker. If you have excess parts, maybe find a better use for the excess factory parts afterwards. So we're going to kind of brainstorm on that. That was feedback we got from players, so it's a little too early to say for sure exactly what the birthday event for 2020 is going to look like. Will those 3,000 factory charms that I stocked over the course of the event be useful next year? We'll see. If not, they certainly have a stat bonus on them that you could put them to a little bit of a use. I'll move over to the spring egg hunt, and I have a favorite mouse of mine. I like the excavator mouse for some reason. It's just kind of cool. I think I like the pose. But the spring egg hunt is the next thing coming up, the next thing that's going to be released. If all goes according to plan, it will be on April 9, will be the start of this year's spring egg hunt. I'll stress too, hopefully that's our plan. If anything, if we hit any roadblocks, that might get delayed, but that's what we're aiming for. So you can tentatively pencil that in on the calendars. We had lots of great, valuable feedback as well from previous Feedback Fridays. Lots of good feedback, comments, suggestions. We're discussing about what sort of changes you would like to see. We're discussing some potential problems with the spring egg hunt as well we're looking to address. But that said, there was a lot to go over. We sort of did our best to summarize everything, and we put that away in a little task that is assigned to the 2020 spring egg hunt. So no major changes this year. But we do have those detailed notes that we'll put to use for 2020, but we might get started on it a little sooner so we have time to fully explore everything and make sure we make a informed decision about anything. KDM says, no major changes as in cartons stay. Oh, actually, if that's fair enough, the cartons will not be making a return. We didn't have all that great feedback on them last year. They're a little bit awkward, so the egg cartons will be gone. That said, you'll be able to open up or actually I think you have to smash the cartons and you'll be able to retrieve some magic essence and or super brie, so you'll be able to get back sort of the monetary value of the cartons. If you purchase them with cash, you'll be able to get back a little bit of super brie, about the equivalent amount of super brie, so it's a bit of a exchange there. It's a good decision on carton, says Matthew. Yeah, it was kind of lukewarm reception last year, so if it wasn't something that players really loved, maybe no sense bringing it back. Thought they were a little bit odd, says Matthew there. That's fair enough. One change, which I guess is a significant change, but more of an addition, is that we've been working on a new little mini game to add to the spring egg hunt to kind of spice things up. So similarly along the lines of the Snowball Showdown that takes place during the Great Winter Hunt and the Spooky Shuffle that takes place during the Halloween event, we're working on a mini game that is somewhat inspired by Minesweeper. So if you think back to the early days of Windows, if you remember playing Minesweeper, it's inspired by it, but it's a little bit different, where instead of trying to avoid mines, you're trying to find the eggs in the grid. But you get clues showing how many eggs are touching a tile as you click around. So like I said, if you played Minesweeper, it would feel familiar, but it's still a little bit different. Matthew says, yes, maybe that's some enthusiasm or some nostalgia for the old Minesweeper game. Beth says, will there be event scavenger maps that require you to get egg drops across the kingdom? Yeah, that's actually a pretty neat idea. That might have to go into the idea bank for next year, though. We're getting a little bit close to the deadline of putting things in, but that's certainly a much better fit, and it feels more intuitive than the egg cartons did. If I recall correctly, I think scavenger hunts were a little bit inspired by the egg cartons, or sort of see if we could make a similar system that worked a little bit better. Salim says loves Minesweeper. That will be fun. Yeah, so far it's pretty fun. We're just kind of polishing the interface a little bit. We were playing around with the ability to add flags on the board as well, so when you know for sure there isn't an egg there, you could put a flag as a mental reminder of, hey, don't click this tile. So, if you're not familiar with Minesweeper, and maybe I should have taken a screenshot, but as we get closer to the release, I'll maybe do a little bit more of a preview of it. If you click a tile, and it might say the number 2 is revealed, and that means that somewhere around that tile are 2 eggs are touching it. And so once you find those other 2 eggs, you know no other tiles touching the number 2 can possibly have any eggs. So like I said, it's kind of Minesweeper in reverse, where you then flag the spots that do not have eggs. Matthew says, takes me back to my first computer in 1993. There's certainly a lot of nostalgia. I can remember as a kid with that, I think it was on my 386 on Windows 3.1. I don't know if that had Minesweeper, but an early version of Windows. Trying to figure out how Minesweeper even worked. I was wrapping my head around that as a young lad. What happens if you lose in Egg Sweeper? See, that's where it's a little bit different. You can't really lose. It's just about trying to clear the board as efficiently as possible. So every click, you're going to consume a trowel item, similar to how you consume Spooky Shuffle tickets and throwable snowballs. And so it's about trying to find the eggs without having to, or using as few shovels as you can, or trowels, I think they're called. Beth says, Windows 3.1 definitely had it. All right, yeah. I seem to have memories of playing Solitaire and Minesweeper on 3.1, so... I believe that computer, the hard drive was outside the computer, and it had its own power supply, and I had to turn on the hard drive before I turned on the actual computer. How far we've come. And some reminiscing in the chat there. I wonder if that old computer's around anywhere. It'd be fun to dig that up, blow off the dust. Don't know if it would start up or not, though. Stejan says it's really close to Snowball Showdown, but with hints. Yeah, so that's one way of thinking about it, is it's basically Snowball Showdown, but all these shapes are only 1 square big. And when you miss, when you don't find an egg, you get a clue about where the eggs are located. So you can slowly deduce and narrow down the possibilities of where to click next, and you can certainly, as you play, figure out where you don't want to click. So there's a little bit more thinking involved. It's not quite as random. And on another spring egg hunt related note, I'll transition over to, what's going on here? Queso Geyser. So we've been speaking about Queso Geyser for a while, and a while ago it was kind of the thing that we're using to fill our extra cycles. I know the art team, in between other projects, they draw a mouse or work on a trap, that sort of thing. But we're sort of full steam ahead now, and it's nearly complete. So it's a Countess expansion to Queso Canyon. You can almost think of it as going to work as a 4th area in Queso Canyon. It's going to involve pumping queso still. It's going to involve spices. So it all kind of blends together. It's almost like the bonus level or an extra layer on top. Kind of like adding the Dojo Sensei is a sort of extra layer to the Pinnacle Chamber that came afterwards. Queso Geyser is a much larger extra layer on top. So we finished up pretty much all the major gameplay work, kind of the things that make the area work. So the HUD, I think we're still doing a few illustrations for the HUD, but all the major wireframing, all the buttons and all that is complete. Painted the frame and everything to make it look nice. Wrapped up all the loot drops, and like I said, yeah, all the major stuff that makes the gameplay work. So now we can finally play it. That's the fun part, when it all comes together and we can actually start sounding the horn. Next week, we're going to be putting some finishing touches on interfaces. Like I said, some nice background illustrations. Maxine's been working on some neat ones, and I'll kind of layer to show you, you're going to be putting a cork inside of a geyser to build pressure. And so there's a few different layers to create the different effects of what cheese you have with which cork, and then the pressure, how high the pressure has gone, what eruption you've caused. So if all that comes together, we're planning to release it during the spring egg hunt, and we're going to add a few new basic eggs in the area as well. So maybe after a couple weeks of the spring egg hunt, if hunters, some hunters, the spring egg hunt isn't their cup of tea, they'll be looking for something else. Then there's a nice tie-in with Queso Geyser. You'll be able to go there and find some new eggs as well. That said, that's the plan, but if we hit any major challenges, then that might delay it, and it wouldn't overlap with the egg hunt, but we'll save those eggs for next year then. How cute. Yeah, that is probably one of the cutest mice, I think, of the area. I like that one. Oh, I can't remember its name now because it's new. Oh, yeah, and I closed it. Yeah, I can't remember the name of that one off the top of my head. Stejan says, what will the rewards for Egg Sweeper be? It'll be a title-specific loot, so you can kind of think something along the lines of the Spooky Shuffle. You'll get similar things there. And we're still kind of toying around, open to feedback as well, where the eggs you find, they go into your inventory, so you can smash them all open up later. So you could play 10 rounds of the Egg Sweeper game, have a whole bunch of the eggs in your inventory, then go open them one at a time, see what you get, or just smash them all open. And that also allows us to more easily be able to use a hunter's hammer on an egg, and you can downgrade it, similar to the Winter Hunt gift packages. And so you can get, if you're a Duke, you'll get Duke-appropriate loot, or you can use the hammer on the egg and downgrade it, and so you can get count-appropriate loot. And so that kind of lets you choose which rewards you'd like to claim from the game. Archduke or higher is Queso Geyser. It is Countess. We're still working on the Archduke area, but this will probably be one of the final lower ranked areas for a while, and then we're going to focus on Archduke. But this will nicely fill out the adventure book. Count was a spot where we saw a lot of players would get a portion of the way through Count, they'd be done all the adventures and be out of content. So this will just kind of smooth that out. And then I think the adventure book's going to be in pretty good shape to just start then adding to the end of it as we go. New way to get the Queso Canyon theme. Yeah, we're still a little hesitant to change that, but it's something we keep in mind, but not too keen on changing the requirement. But it is probably the hardest journal theme to get in the game. So those that do have it, you can wear it with the utmost pride. Matthew asks about how Queso Geyser is unlocked. We have to complete the river first. Yes, I think the map piece is going to be in a cartographer, and one of the requirements of the map piece is completing the Inferna adventure. So if you have not completed it, you will need to do so before you can uncover the map piece to unlock Queso Geyser. Beth says, hopefully you'll be able to get all the eggs this year. Yeah, we are aiming at slightly easier eggs, the ones that we'd add to Queso Geyser, and leave any really challenging ones maybe for next year when people are a little bit more prepared. Sounds like Winter Hunt gift boxes. Exactly. Yeah, that's for the Egg Sweeper rewards. Is a great way of thinking about it. We kind of drew the idea from those boxes themselves. Did the unstable scroll map idea pop up again? No, not at the moment. We might kind of leave that as the lightning map is something that's unique there. But kind of even just sort of going through the motions with it, it got a little bit frustrating to get a case and you didn't know what map you were going to get inside. So maybe something with a slightly, maybe similar theme but worked slightly differently might work well. Will the Geyser have some kind of trap at the end? You can't outpower Mouse Picchu Draconic traps. The rewards for the area will not be Draconic. It will be new Physical, Tactical, and Hydro, and that kind of fits in well to help you going forward. It will have new Best-in-Game Tactical and Physical in terms of power, but not luck. So they'll be the most powerful Tactical and Physical trap. It'll even outpower the Chrome Sphinx Wrath and the Chrome Monster Bot. However, they will not have as much luck. So there'll be some good traps for doing boss hunting. The Hydro Trap, though, is a little easier to obtain, and it's kind of maybe an alternative to if you don't have the School of Sharks, you can have something that's close but not quite as good. But again, that's all work in progress. We're just firing up playtesting, so no guarantees there, and we're open to feedback as well. But as we kind of get more feedback from players and we do our own playtesting, we'll kind of start fine-tuning the rewards. But certainly there's a lot of long-term gameplay there. There's a lot to build up to as you go, so there be some kind of longer-term rewards and traps to build. New Physical and Tactical to prepare for the Isles, yes indeed. So this was kind of the last little piece of the puzzle to flesh out a good level of power to have across all the power types to take to the Archduke area that will probably be in 2020 if all goes according to plan. But that'll kind of set the stage nicely, and we'll know there'll be good access to various types of equipment to take on the floating islands. Is there a limited time journal theme that resets usability every year just for Eggmasters possible? No, I don't think so. We want to leave Eggmaster as sort of just a little bragging rights thing without any in-game accomplishments or titles to unlock. The only thing that's somewhat close is the forum title that you get to denote you're an Eggmaster. But there's no unique in-game items or anything to unlock. We kind of want to keep that as an above and beyond accomplishment that you set for yourself, nothing that the game specifically encourages you to go for, because it's quite the challenging one. Brian asks, more luck than regular Sphinx and Monster Bot? Oh, I closed my spreadsheet. Let's see if my computer can handle streaming and a giant spreadsheet at the same time. There's a lot of formulas. As the spreadsheet develops, I get to the point where if I tweak one of the numbers in one table, I get the loading bar. And it says, hold on, all the other tables are updating. Where were we at here? At the moment, no. It has slightly less luck than the regular Sphinx Wrath. And where's the physical? And slightly less than the regular Monster Bot. So indeed, it's kind of utility mode. It'll be a very powerful trap, but the luck is a little bit lower. Does that mean we'll have a 12-part map item for Viceroy Isles that needs to get crafted through all loot in the game and new library assignment? Probably not. Not without overhauling library assignments, I think. Finally got EM the last day last year. Been playing since launch Eggmaster. It took me a second to figure out what that stood for. It's definitely a multi-year goal to set for. Or set for yourself. I'm having trouble speaking. Physical, better luck than Sandtail Sentinel? Yes, indeed. I would think so. Like I said, it's still kind of work in progress, so it's interesting to see what players would like to see. And then we'll be kind of fine-tuning things as we play test. But kind of don't want to put up an exact table of the stats yet until those are firmed up a little bit. What about the hydro trap? And I closed my spreadsheet. I should have known better. Queso, Geyser, not numbers. The hydro trap we're still playing with, and it'd be interesting to hear what players would like to see done with the hydro trap. But because it's also at the same level of the School of Sharks, it's also a count area that you can unlock a hydro trap as well. So it's a little bit more niche, or it's right now it's positioned as something that's easier to get than the School of Sharks, but not quite as good. So something that you could put some time into getting if you didn't want to sink a whole lot of time into the sunken city to try to collect all the sand dollars and potentially the processors for yourself as well. So it doesn't have as much power as the School of Sharks. It has less luck than the Rune Shark, but more power than the Rune Shark. So it's kind of in between the Rune Shark and the School of Sharks at the moment. Sejan says, isn't the Queso area with the most unique traps then? 3 from regular Queso and 3 for more. I don't know. I'd have to double check, but yeah, that's possible. I know the, let me see what else. Murday Market and the Warpath. You unlock 3, 4, 5 traps, I guess. You get the chest trap, dimensional chest trap, the Sandtail Sentinel, the Monster Bot, the Chrome Sphinx, and the Oasis Water Node. Those are kind of tied together roughly in storyline. Just Ronza bring Chrome versions to bump the luck back up to Chrome Sphinx. Yeah, too early to say what kind of Chrome kits would show up for traps that aren't released yet. But wait, what's the point of the Hydros and School of Sharks is count 2? Well, it's a much easier to obtain Hydro Trap. So somebody kind of just coming through the count level at the first time, looking to pick up a Hydro Trap to serve them well in the Fungal Cavern, and thereafter it'll be a much more obtainable item to achieve. Glad I can move on from SS without having to hope for Sandblasted Metal. Oh, Sandtail Sentinel. I can just about build the Monster Bot, says John. Will still be useful. That high luck is good. You get a little bit of a loot bonus. It's great when you're hunting weaker mice. Luck is the only thing that can guarantee the capture of a mouse because it allows your catch rate to go above 100%. Whereas power is... it reaches an asymptote, if that's the right word, where your power never quite hits 100%. That said, I'm pretty sure we round up. So when you get 99.999, I think we round up to 100 in the favor of the player. So with enough power, you still get to 100, but luck gets there a lot sooner. Chroming a Chrome Trap, says KDM. Chrome squared. Just put an extra layer on there. Brian says, give it more luck than the School of Sharks, but half the power. That's interesting as well. That might be another interesting angle to take, in that the School of Sharks is both extremely powerful and extremely lucky. But might have to kind of see where that falls in, because it would probably give it the highest luck in the entire game if we did that. If it had something like 31 or 32. Sneak peek of the boss, please. I might leave that a mystery until somebody captures it, but it looks pretty cool. I don't know if Jacob drew it on stream. I'm pretty sure Jacob did the final. There's kind of 2 tiers of boss. Well, I'd say 3 actually. One that you get with Flaming Cheese, and one that you get with Flaming Cheese during the absolute largest eruption you can create. And then there's even above and beyond. Well, not really above and beyond, because the adventure might incorporate that final one, but with wildfire during the largest eruption. Where'd the chat go? Lost the chat. Hint, the boss was drawn by Jacob live. Well, there you go. So if you look at some older videos, you'll be able to see the final boss if it was painted live. But if you don't want a spoiler, then don't go back and watch those videos. Do the 2 Ellie birthday traps have no title requirement on purpose? I believe that's been corrected. I thought I overheard somebody at the office fixing that. So will the physical and tactical traps here be less random than the Warmonger loot tables. No, they're somewhat similar in that they are, because they are in line with those traps, they are of equal rarity and difficulty to obtain. That said, I'm pretty sure we're going to have an item similar to, what's the word I'm looking for? Sand dollars that you earn while you're trying to get the drops, and then when you get enough of that item, you can purchase the drop rather than waiting for it. Considering the Geyser is an upgrade on the Canyon, wouldn't finishing Geyser be pretty easy for someone who spent time properly finish Canyon? It'll help you out a little bit. You definitely want a level 10 pump, will help you because you'll need some bland queso. But that said, there's new resources to collect. So we'll probably go a little bit more in detail when we get closer to the release, but the basic premise is there's a giant geyser that erupts with queso now and then, and you're building corks of various sizes and quality to shove inside the geyser. Well, I guess the same size but different quality, because that wouldn't make physical sense. So you're shoving these different quality corks in the geyser, and they can withstand different amounts of pressure before they erupt, and that causes a larger and larger eruption if you use a more high quality cork to stick in there. And so building the cork materials, that'll be kind of the main resource that you're managing. Golden traps from Exodus have more luck than 30. Oh, I believe you are correct, although they have I think the physical can reach 32. It has the caveat, though, of if you try to use it for something else, it'll lose some of its bonus, and you got to build it back up. So it's not quite as convenient, but you can certainly achieve it. Wait, we need Flaming and Wildfire Cheese. Yeah, it'll incorporate, you can kind of think of it as just an extra area on top of the 3 existing ones. So it'll feel very similar. You'll be jumping around throughout the areas to work on the geyser. It's not kind of a standalone. Once you go there, you'll still need to travel to the other areas in the region. Purple says hello, hello to you as well. Imagine stopping a volcano with a giant cork. It's a magical cork made of magical items. Salim, I get so excited during this time after birthday event, right at spring egg hunt and before Aranza. She does tend to sometimes show up during summer. So yeah, might be a little action-packed with the Geyser coming. Is there stuff to do with low quesos as well as our hot flaming wildfire only area? We'll be managing all those resources. They all kind of play their role. Figuring out too the kind of the strategy of, well, what spice to use during which phase to hunt which mice to most efficiently put all your resources to use. Purple finally got that journal queso theme. Congrats. Wear it with pride. I'm sure corks are not made of wood, which is very flammable. I believe the items here, maybe that would have been a fun thing to show images of as well. You would think I would know this by heart after staring at it for so long. Collecting cork, no. Eruption encounters, no. Eruption loot, there we go. There are cork scraps, because you need a whole bunch of them to make a cork, and that's sort of everything needs cork scraps. And then a level 2 cork, if you will, needs rubber. I believe it's congealed rubber, and it looks a little bit gnarly. The level 3 cork requires a unique item called Geyserite to reinforce it with. And then finally, the strongest cork of them all, you need the ever so difficult to obtain tungsten to build a super strong cork. If they're supposed to cause a greater eruption, they aren't really doing their job. Well, they all have different pressure ratings, so when you put in a really high quality cork, you can withstand thousands of pressure before it finally bursts, and then when it releases all that pressure at once, you cause a greater eruption, and the cheesy scent in the air will have some more powerful dragons descend down upon your trap. Let's talk about eggs. Did I miss that? Yes, we covered the egg hunt. Second. A few little notes there as well. April 9, if all goes according to plan. We kind of correlated a lot of the feedback we had from previous Feedback Fridays about any possible changes to the egg hunt, and we sort of summarized that, put that in a task for 2020. So no major changes this year. I think the only things are egg cartons will not make a return. You'll be able to smash them and get some Super Brie though, and a new egg sweeper type mini game as well. Dark mode. Unfortunately, I don't think the game is set up well for us to implement a dark mode. But it would be something to consider if we did a MouseHunt 4.0. It'd probably be possible, but it would be potentially a whole lot more work than it's worth to try to incorporate. All right, we'll go on to trivia, and as always, Larry will have some rewards. So it is about the spring egg hunt, and the trivia question this week is, which region currently has the fewest eggs to find? So where are there the fewest eggs? Not necessarily that it's any easy to complete that region's eggs, but it doesn't have a large quantity of eggs. 48 and 42, we haven't released those regions yet, but good guesses. Nania and Valor are incorrect. Turkano is incorrect. Looking for a region, not an area. Feroma is incorrect. Varmint Valley, Brian comes in with Varmint Valley, only has 9 unique eggs to find. Unless I'm horribly mistaken, I have been known to get the trivia question wrong on occasion. I'll put the reward link in the chat. Brian's the Varmint Valley master. Yep, the magmatic golem egg. Despite there not being a lot of eggs in the region, it probably has one of the hardest eggs. Maybe second only to the shelter. Actually, I would say that I'd rather go for the shelter egg, as painful as that is, than I would the magmatic golem. At least you can kind of prepare a little bit ahead in advance. You can get some charms prepped. You can wait until the right phase of the train. Stockade has less eggs. Yep, there's no eggs. Maybe we should put a rotten egg in the stockade. And then just watch all the profanity on the forums as everyone tries to get banned so they can go get the rotten egg out of the stockade. Brian knows MH better than the wiki. Says purple there. Queso Canyon let us stock massive magmatic crystal charms to prep. Yes, indeed. That's a good use of the Notchore. If I had to choose an item for Notchore, I'd probably buy the magmatic golem charms. Can you purchase temporary entrance to the King's Stockade? It's not actually a real location, so what we do is, technically when somebody's put in the stockade, they remain in the area that they're hunting in technically, and on their profile it just replaces the text with King's Stockade, so there wouldn't be any functionality to actually be able to visit or hunt there or encounter mice. But by all means, if somebody happens to be in, I don't know, the Pinnacle Chamber, then they're technically in the database. They're still set to be in the Pinnacle Chamber. But just on their profile, we just do a little text replace. Can you link the reward for non-Facebook users? See what I can do. And I don't know, I wonder what happens actually here if you're not logged in. Yeah, it doesn't work. Might have to get that going a little later. If not on the forums, I believe somebody does translate those links. There you go, Stesian to the rescue. It has been sort of in the idea bank. Unfortunately, it just hasn't been a priority to make a little landing page where you can choose where you want to claim a reward link, whether you want to claim it on mousehuntgame.com or apps.facebook.com. Ryan's asking if you can get more charms to exchange. Yes, after the event ends. So we didn't want to do it during the event to make sure people didn't accidentally smash them before they're done using them. But when the event comes to an end, they will become smashable, and they are 1-to-1. So you'll be able to obtain party charms from your factory parts. On that note, I guess I'll wrap things up then. Thanks for joining me, Hunters. Again, quick recap of things to come on Tuesday. Some important notes to remember is the birthday event's coming to an end. The location will remain behind for 1 week where you'll be able to cash out your various supplies. So it will be your last chance to get those LE traps if you're looking to pick those up. And after the event, or after Tuesday, after that update, you'll be able to smash your various factory charms into party charms. It just went over. And final note as well that the golden tickets and the various factory components, they will be removed from inventories at some point thereafter in the future. So it'll be important during that week. Make sure you smash everything into party charms or exchange them in the shop. Make sure you do what you want to do with them before they are gone. Thanks, Dave. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here. Thanks, Dave. My pleasure. Matthew's filling in Chong there that it is April 9 is the plan for the spring egg hunt, unless we have some unforeseen delay. Thanks, Dave. Have a great weekend. You as well, Michelle. Bye. Thanks, Dave. Love the info. My pleasure. All right, well, have a great weekend. I'm trying to find my closing slide that I'm struggling with. This is what I'm doing here. Oh, there we go. All right. I found it. All right, technical difficulties aside. Thanks for joining me, Hunters. Happy hunting. Have a great weekend.